Tesla just confirmed big news for us long-term Tesla stock investors. They just built 1,000 Powerwalls in a single day, and this is big. As of August 20th, Tesla was only able to produce 500 Powerwall units in a single shift. This is a doubling in just a few months. And now Elon Musk himself has confirmed the news, giving a shout out to the Tesla Powerwall team, putting this on his main timeline, getting 17 million views, definitely making a few sales for Tesla. And there's so much news for Tesla, you'll want to watch this one in full. For example, Morgan Stanley just gave Tesla's Optimus humanoid robot opportunity an implied present value of $485 per share. And JP Morgan just put out a new Tesla note saying that Tesla stock is a must-own stock right now. They're predicting that the rally is going to continue. Their position basically is, even if you have 1 or 2 days that may be down, overall, the trend should be up. And Dan Ives just dropped a big bombshell. He thinks that a $2 trillion valuation over the next 12 to 18 months could be conservative, which would be a $600 price target for Tesla stock. The bet for the ages for Musk was betting on Trump. This is a game changer for the story. He believes that autonomous cybercab, the timing, specifically regulatory approval timing, could get accelerated by 2 to 3 years, which could add $1 trillion in valuation alone. Dan Ives is making some big calls, and overall, he's fairly good at feeling the sentiment, but he does change his price targets quite a bit here and there. But consistently, he has remained a Tesla stock bull, even though sometimes he would reduce his price target significantly. So that price target from earlier basically extended to 18 months, but specifically on a 12-month price target, he has made an official adjustment. It used to be $300, now it's $400, and likely, if the rally continues, he will increase it further again. The change is largely due to the new administration and the AI story being strong for Tesla. And it's not just Dan Ives. Another big institution, Morgan Stanley, is making a pretty big call here. They are saying Musk's entry into politics is putting this bull case of $500 in play. Officially, though, their price target remains at $310, and I certainly expect a change from them soon. They also made this statement: based on our discussions at least, Tesla is very frequently excluded from potential paths of expression in a portfolio due to its reliance on car sales for the bulk of revenue. This means once they realize that's not going to be the case moving forward, there's going to be another shift that's going to happen to Tesla stock. A lot of these people that on purpose left out Tesla stock from their portfolios will suddenly start buying in bulk, and that will spark another massive rally. That's coming. It's not a matter of will it happen, it's just a matter of when will it happen exactly. Just to be clear, in that $500 bull case, they are not including the humanoid robot. This trader is getting some attention. He's using technical analysis, so he's a stock astrologist, but he's predicting that likely there's going to be a small pullback to 307, where he is suggesting to buy more, and he's definitely suggesting to lower the boat if you see $300. He's predicting that this stock, Tesla stock, is going to $414 next. Here's his astrology chart. His slightly longer term prediction is that Tesla is going to $710, with the next bigger milestone being around $400. A lot of predictions are being made, but yeah, it's pretty common for me to see $400 predictions in 2 to 3 months. I just buy, invest for the long term, and then check my portfolio 5 to 10 years later. When Tesla stock dropped about 10%, more than a year ago in one single day, I said years later it will be apparent this was a buying opportunity. It hasn't been years later. It's only been a little bit over a year, and already it was clear it was a buying opportunity. But the big shout out goes to Ron Barron, who predicted the bottom pretty much perfectly in April when Tesla stock was at $160, and now it has basically doubled, which is a bit crazy. He said now it's going to go up huge. Now is the time to buy. What's also really interesting about this latest Tesla stock rally is that it was supported by huge trading volume. For example, over 2.5 million Tesla options contracts were traded by the noon yesterday, which is more than twice the usual pace. Pullbacks, of course, are often expected even when you have a massive rally like this. So if you do see a slightly bigger pullback, that's healthy. I think that's normal. But largely speaking, overall, because this recent rally was supported by more volume, you can make an argument that it's likely to stay at this sort of place where it is right now for a little bit longer because it was supported by large volume and not just by very little volume. When you see a rally from very little volume, it could mean that people are simply not as interested in the stock, and the moment people start trading normally, the stock is going to drop. And it's not what happened with Tesla stock. However, this is slightly, when I see words like euphoric, I start to feel personally a little bit uncomfortable. Specifically, it's euphoric was said by Steve Sosnick, a chief strategist at Interactive Brokers. Tesla is by far the most active option at our shop. As I'm recording at the moment, there is a pullback that's happening with Tesla stock. However, yesterday we were up almost 9%. So keeping this in mind, today actually we are still higher than where we were starting yesterday. Another reason for this recent rally, I think, was also accelerated by a short squeeze, which now seems to be probably largely over because we are seeing a bit of a pullback. And while it is certainly exciting to see this recent rally that Tesla stock experienced, I am focused on the long term. I believe that Tesla stock is going to $1,000 and then well beyond that eventually. So I have no interest at all in selling Tesla stock at these current prices. Definitely not. Here, check this out. This is what I mean. Notional trading value of Tesla options has averaged 145 billion a day since the election. Last Friday, notional trading volumes hit a whopping 245 billion. Here, these bars at the bottom represent Tesla's trading volume. And look at election day. This was November 5th. And then the trading volume basically doubled the next day and so far remained elevated. Hedge funds are admitting that they shorted Tesla stock and that they lost money and that they lowered their short positions. However, only 7% of hedge funds were dumb enough to bet against Elon Musk, who were net short Tesla, down from 17% in early July. But then only 8% are net long. So it's almost even. 7% are betting the stock is going to go down and 8% are betting it's going to go up. Since Tesla went public in 2010, short sellers have lost $75 billion and about 10 billion of that happened in the last few weeks. There's also a different take out there. Winthrop Capital's Adam Kuhn says Elon Musk's political moves with a new administration could slow down Tesla's growth. But we all know that Elon Musk being distracted has been the bear case for a long time, and it's a bear case that never really worked out well for Tesla bears. Most Tesla stock investors have been investors for quite a bit, but there have been some investors, unlucky ones, that went all in around $414, like the son of Walkley here. Oh, he's still down, but not all that much he was celebrating. He was only down 15% from his all-in position. He may not be happy looking at Tesla stock today, but I don't see it that way. The way I see it is, if we just go up all the way to $400, $500, $600 from here, I won't have these super cheap buying opportunities anymore to take advantage of. So I personally really wouldn't mind having another buying opportunity closer to $200 and maybe even below $200. For me personally, that would be fun. I know for many of you, not really, but for me, if that happens, I'll be very happy. Loading up just a little bit more at these lower prices. Technically speaking, Tesla is still considered a flat stock until it breaks its all-time high of $414, but I think there is one caveat. You have to consider stock dilution, for example, options given to employees and stuff like that. So Tesla's all-time high had a market cap of 1.24 trillion, but with the new higher share count, Tesla would hit that same market cap at around $395. So really, if we cross $395, that's when we, in practical terms, we reach a new all-time high. If we look at the market cap of Tesla. I didn't quite know this about Jason DeBalt. He is a retired software engineer, multimillionaire, all in Tesla. I don't think he owns any other assets other than Tesla, not even real estate. And currently he's renting a one-bedroom apartment for just $630 a month. His expenses are low. Over the past 7 months, his paper gains on Tesla can pay for about 1,200 years of rent. Jason is definitely a lot more frugal than I am. I think my property tax alone is that much per month. Elon Musk is certainly enjoying the Tesla stock rally since the election. He's laughing at this meme saying that the bears are covering their Tesla short position since the election. Yesterday, Elon specifically made this comment as this chart shows. Tesla stock. Nobody takes the lying legacy media seriously anymore. They are a clown show. O'Donnell said if Musk were taken seriously, the stock market would crash. Well, since the election, we are still up 30%. I agree with Farzad's prediction here. Tesla will be the greatest dividend stock of all time, but it will take a long time to get there. Pesci is guessing 2035. I generally agree with this take from Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas, who believes that the result of the election will help Tesla accelerate its journey beyond autos. For example, I think, less resistance from the government when it comes to buying a few Tesla mega packs here and there. This is from CNN, but I think this is likely almost certainly true. Elon Musk is at Mar-a-Lago every day and is weighing in on staffing decisions for the president. For all my European friends not really familiar with the US political system, there are two parliaments basically in the US, the House and the Senate, and you have to control both of them if you want to pass legislation. And the Senate clearly was in the hands of the president, and we just learned that the House is also basically in the hands of the president. Technically, it's in the hands of the party, not the president, but this basically allows the party to pass new laws without really having any major issues. James is predicting that this is great for Elon and SpaceX, and for SpaceX this is definitely really good because, all of these delays that were happening because of nonsense reasons, these should go away because of this now. But James is predicting that this is not necessarily great for Tesla. It doesn't seem like he is all that convinced that Elon will have a lot of influence on the president's policies. I'm not so sure about that because check this out. Musk actually joined the president-elect on a call with Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. Now this, to some degree, certainly makes sense because Elon Musk provides a lot of Starlinks to Ukraine, and that's essential. But on the other hand, I think we will see probably quite a bit more of things like that. Elon will definitely have significant influence when it comes to the new administration in the US.
So they were together. Zelensky apparently called Trump to congratulate him, and Trump literally at some point early on in this conversation hands the phone to Elon Musk and encourages Zelensky to talk to Musk. There is some discussion between Musk and Zelensky about the communications apparatus that Elon Musk's company Starlink is providing in Ukraine.
Also today, we have some very good news for Tesla. In China, Tesla just delivered 17,200 cars in a week, which is one of the best weeks so far this whole year. It's the third highest week of the whole year, and we are not even close to ending the quarter yet. Things are definitely going well in China for Tesla right now. And keep in mind, this is despite the rumors floating around that Tesla is already producing the refresh Model Y, and yet people are buying. We are not waiting for the new refresh model to come out. In Europe, sales this year will be slightly down compared to the previous year, but China is going to make up for that, especially if things continue like this. When it comes to predicting Tesla's earnings per share, James has a phenomenal track record, beating pretty much everyone on average when it comes to retail Tesla stock investors, and he beats the Wall Street consensus as well. For next year, he predicts 2.1 million vehicles delivered by Tesla. And if you look at the base case that James has, it's actually above the Wall Street consensus. So that's definitely positive as James outperforms Wall Street's predictions. So in 2025, James expects Tesla to generate about $4 per share and about $120 billion in revenue. If we analyze Q3 earnings, we are a little bit below $3 per share per year right now. Troy is also giving his take about Q4 delivery specifically. Tesla earlier said that they expect a slight increase in total deliveries this year. For that to happen, Tesla would need to deliver about 515,000 cars almost, but Troy predicts that's not likely. I think I agree with Troy here that if we get 500,000 deliveries, most Tesla investors would be pretty happy with that, but Troy's prediction is that it looks difficult, but not impossible. His prediction is that Tesla will deliver somewhere between 485,000 to 500,000 deliveries if nothing improves. Last year in Q4, Tesla delivered 484,500. So if we are above this number, I think many would still be pretty happy with that. He also points out that the $7,500 tax credit for the Cybertruck has not been approved yet, although it was supposed to be approved by now. And if this delays Cybertruck deliveries, he predicts that we could end up with fewer than 484,500, which, according to him, would be very disappointing. In the short term, sure. Maybe, but in the long term, I think we're good, and we're going to get to that $1,000 per share. A bet on Tesla is also largely a bet on Elon Musk. Elon commented here recently, "You will not find a better friend than me, nor a worse enemy." Elon is definitely not an enemy. You want to howl, let it be a lesson for the previous administration and future potential enemies of Elon Musk. There's a new Tesla FSD update rolling out. We are definitely getting closer to V13. So the newest FSD version includes monitoring with sunglasses. The latest FSD version truly provides a hands-free experience even with sunglasses. And here's one reason why it's a good idea to have your FSD turned on. It's like another driver helping you observe potential obstacles. And this was a very comfortable slowing down. The car came to a full stop, no danger to anyone or anything at all. I think most people would have seen this, but it might have been a bit uncomfortable for some, and it would have been maybe a little too sudden, too jerky. But this was very safe, very good. And some of the time, I do have things like this happen where FSD starts braking, and I'm wondering, why are you braking? There's nothing. And then I'm like, I see why you're braking. That makes sense. It occasionally notices things before I do. It doesn't happen very often, but it definitely happens. Currently, I am on FSD 12.5.4.2. This is 0.6.2, so it's a bit newer. And mine is fairly smooth most of the time, but occasionally I wish it was a bit smoother. I am not getting things like this, sometimes maybe, but not quite like this, where it's this smooth. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this new version eventually. And the thing that's really exciting is if you have hardware 4, AI 4, you are getting the new FSD stack for highways as well, end-to-end on highways as well. So highway driving should be smoother going forward with Tesla's vehicles on FSD. It was fairly good, but it felt a bit mechanical to me. I prefer end-to-end city driving over mechanical highway driving. I think end-to-end should be better than the mechanical highway driving, which used to be the case until recently. And now I can say that most of the time I use FSD. Even if I have passengers in my vehicle, I do prefer to use FSD. It doesn't do anything that makes my passengers uncomfortable. It used to do that before, but with these newer versions, not really. Most cases, my passengers are not going to be freaked out by anything that FSD does, except in certain locations. And in those locations, I just turn FSD off. We have an update about Tesla's new factory in Shanghai. It's expected to be completed next month. The Indian government is making efforts to revive interest in its electric vehicle import scheme by organizing a workshop for companies interested in importing premium electric cars at lower import tariffs. So maybe finally Tesla is going to be able to start selling vehicles in India, but my hopes are definitely not high. We have seen it now too many times. Tesla working with India, things seem to be progressing, and then everything just stops and nothing happens. Oh, check this out. There's a new promotion that Tesla is running in Malaysia. Likely this is going to be offered in other markets as well. Tesla is basically offering incentives of about 2,300 USD or a 0% interest rate if they trade in their internal combustion engine vehicle. So if you are trading in an EV, you're not getting it, but this is, I think, a pretty good way to incentivize those that have never really experienced an EV before. This is Max from Tesla. He works at Tesla. He made a statement: a lot of superchargers are now pre-assembled in factories like Gigafactory of New York, making the installation process faster, better quality, and cheaper. The cost savings are being passed on to drivers. The never-ending hunt for efficiency matters to accelerate the transition transition to EVs. Then he explains this is what shows up on site, traditional build with excavations on the left versus the pre-assembled superchargers that you can see here on the right. Looking at SpaceX and what it has been doing lately, it's pretty impressive. It's basically a launch a day. Elon is making some interesting statements here. A launch a day keeps blank away. And the launches continue. There are quite a few scheduled. Tesla just now also released this sort of promotional video celebrating Giga Berlin's 5th anniversary. To date, the Giga Berlin factory has made over 400,000 Model Ys, over 500,000 Force units produced, recycled over 90% of processed water, and 2 million trees have been planted, hired 12,000 people. The context here is a bit murky and there is a community note here, but yet I think there is some substance behind this statement here. The vice president says the US could drop support for NATO if Europe tries to regulate Elon Musk's X, which works in Elon Musk's favor as well as in favor of us Tesla stock investors because X will do better and therefore Elon will be less likely to sell any Tesla stock. However, again, there's some murky context behind this, and the person that was really against Elon in Europe, that person is gone now. So already it wasn't really that bad to begin with. And the statement was actually made a little bit earlier, but now the vice president is actually not just a candidate for vice president, but vice president elect. So everything that he would say going forward would carry more weight, of course, compared to what he said before being elected. Starting now, Waymo's 24/7 driverless robotaxi rides are open to everyone in Los Angeles. Before, you could only ride after you received an invite from the company, and the waitlist was 300,000 people. Bentley, which is owned by VW, says their entire car lineup will now go full electric in 2035 instead of 2030. For a vehicle maker that's this luxurious, they should go full electric a bit sooner because it actually makes their cars better. Just make the range a bit further and charging faster. Nizza said just now that it just opened a probe into 1.4 million Hondas and Acuras after reports of serious engine issues. So it's not just Tesla getting recalls, but actually in this case it's not a software recall, which in Tesla's case that's basically what it is almost always. Here's something that's quite interesting. LG has developed the world's first stretchable display that can expand by 50%. Wow. Remember the Xiaomi SU7 vehicle, which is a direct competitor to the Model 3? It has been a while now since the launch, and we can see how many vehicles they sold versus Tesla. So during this period of time, from April to October, the Model 3 in China sold 94,779 units, and Xiaomi SU7, 90,500. So it's almost the same. But Tesla's numbers so far are looking fairly decent in China, especially this last week. That's it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you later this week. Thank you so much for watching.